Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Sorry about this morning, super quiet. Reason? Well, let me tell you about it. This place was surrounded by like a group of 5 Samoans, but the problem was the Samoans were literally overtaking this entire strip. So, like, two of them were like here, two of them were on the completely opposite side on the treadmills and the bikes. So, they literally overtook this entire strip. None of them have sound barriers, and some of them were actually behind me as well, doing the machines. So I had to stay quiet the entire time. It's pretty much surrounded and trapped. But the only advantage is that the Samoans don't use these machines, so they didn't really bother me. But I literally overtook this entire strip. I had to stay silent too. But they're gone now. They're gone now, so it's fine. Just couldn't talk, that's all. Not that I had anything to say to begin with. Just wanted to say good morning. Just good morning, and that's about it. Also had to blow my nose and stuff, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, there was just too many of them. No sound barriers. No, there were only 4 of them, but like they're basically equal to. So you kind of like 8. There are like 4 or 5 of them, maybe more. But yeah, just basically surrounded the stairs. Where they go now? Diamond hour today is now. I mean, golden hour is now. Somewhat busy, I guess, but doesn't really matter. Again, yeah, it was just basically blocked by the Samoans. That's fine. They didn't bother. Just couldn't talk. That's all. At the beginning of the morning, all 4 of them were clustered like right around here. I was thinking about just going to the other side and doing treadmill, but then one of them started walking towards me, so then I walked past them and then just started taking the stairs, and then they took the treadmills. So they basically just overtook this entire strip. Just they didn't bother with the stairs, and I had to stay silent like a robot. Apparently, my heart rate is 130 right now. Is that good? I don't know. Anyway, so what did we do yesterday? Oh yeah, like I said, that yesterday, right? Shoulders, over the regime, editing, dips and pull-ups, then food, and then I also did like 1 hour of quiet Minecraft VOD. VOD basically means just video without a stream. And then I did a delivery work. Did the delivery work, and I also visited the other places. Oh yeah, yesterday's yesterday's gym we went to. Too busy. I couldn't even get my phone out. It's too risky. They expanded it though. I didn't even talk about it. Yeah, I don't even knew. I don't have any metadata. Couldn't even get the chance because I only was there for like a couple minutes and then I had to leave. So I didn't even get the chance to record anything. But also it was just so clustered. Basically, as expected, right? There's no golden hour. It's bronze. Like 20 plus people. Every single machine pretty much taken. And that was only 10 o'clock as well. Oh yeah, and then after yes, like I said, that place is just too busy, too many people. Again, golden hour is always better, but any other time past golden hour is just too many people for me. I couldn't even get my phone out. Anyways, what else is there? Uh, yeah, people would not make it in that gym yesterday. No way. Zero chance he'd make it. Deep Blue's legs, yeah. Even the magnet wouldn't really work because it's just too obvious. Just too many people, too many eyes. Anyways, yesterday's. We also did some Overwatch for like 3 hours or 4. It was actually really good. We basically pretty much won almost all of our quick play matches. So 6v6, we pretty much got a 99% win rate with like one loss, and that's it. And then we played some ranked. I think we lost like 4 games and won 2. So negative in ranked. And then we tried at stadium and we won. So yeah, did that. Didn't even try a new champion because everyone just plays there. And then for Minecraft, we basically explored in cities yesterday on stream. That's about it. Got a decent amount of loot. So today I need to like improve the sugarcane farm by a lot. And then also need to finish mining netherite. So gonna do that as well. And that should be about it. And then I guess for the rest of the day today, I'll think about what to do. Oh yeah, we did 2 minutes extra. I mean, no, we did 2 minutes in the morning, and then since I did blow my nose, it got cancelled. So there you go, the stats are 28. But just pretend to say 30 because we did 2 minutes already. Looks like golden hour is um oh, surprisingly, okay, cables is a bit occupied. The benches are not occupied. Probably shouldn't be doing this with the wet shirt. I'm sure we'll be alright. Actually, we're kind of dried up a bit already, so we're gonna do the tricep bench. We'll go 10 kgs rest. Well, technically it's not 10 kgs, it's, wait, the bar is 10, right? So it's like 20. Well, yeah, no, the drill, right? I think we've done this before on Earth logs. It's not, it's not very difficult. Bro, the phone fell down. 10,000 germs on the phone. Gotta wipe that. Gotta drink the water too. Consume the water. Honestly, there's actually nothing to talk about, so I'm just gonna shut up. Most likely you have a story video today, because there's no topics. We're gonna add more weight to this thing. Just like 5 more kgs. And for the triceps, you just go really slow and stuff. It's pretty simple. There's not much explanation on this. Just water and, yep, just not much. Okay, let's try to do like lots of lightweight reps now. We're on like 35s anyways, so yeah. Definitely feeling in the triceps, but I don't know. Our triceps are quite strong already due to the dips. Because dips do our body weight. So our triceps are actually quite strong. But gotta do smaller lightweight reps. And then the next thing we do is skull crushers and then do the biceps. And it's gonna smell so bad. Doing lightweight is good. Lots of little lightweight reps on the triceps is good. That was way better. I'll drink the remaining water on the skull crushers. Yeah, unfortunately, there's just zero topic to talk about. It's not the worst. It's not the end of the world. So now we can drink more water, I guess. I'll go. I'll go with 14 kgs first. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see that person here, it makes me doubt things. Hold on, I'll talk about it soon. Shut up. All of a sudden, it's cold again, and that is why make sure no one's behind me. So what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, I was gonna talk about like there's this one person at the gym who I see sometimes. They're kind of like how to say it. They're like they're like toned. Oh, I know they're like skinny. No, it's like they're fit, right? But from just look, how do you say it? It's like they're strong, like they're toned, right? Like I could tell they got like decent amount of muscles, but they're like really thin at the same time. It kind of confuses me. It's like he's toned, right? He's like Filipino. He's like toned. Like he's wearing those like shirts that like hug his muscles. Like he probably looks really good, but then he's like at the same time like small. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm saying here. To be honest, we'll just continue to resume. I guess it just depends on the ecosystem at the end of the day. Also, choosing the spot was pretty bad. Just like a fan blowing in my face, non-stop. The thing is, I already went into the phase of bodybuilding before. Like, I have gotten way stronger. I mean, yeah, I've been in the phase of like bodybuilding before, right? But when I was stronger, I literally looked like a bowling ball. Like, you know, from Ben 10, that like alien. I look like that one. I look like that bowling ball, dude. That's crazy. But now I don't know. Just we're just normal, right? It is what it is. We can always get big again. We're trying to. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. This is why this is gonna be a story video today. Just like shut up. You know what I mean? Nah, never mind. I was gonna say, what if we went back to like getting really, really big? Probably not. Try to get like we're trying to get like toned, but not like skinny, but not too big. Like like a mix of like ripped and calisthenics, which is exactly what we're training. Yeah, we are doing a mix of iron body regime and calisthenics. Not really. Actually, it's not really calisthenics because my calisthenics is completely different. I just call it alpha regime because calisthenics is like more different moves and stuff. So I don't even think I could do a muscle up yet. I can do a pull up, but I can't do a muscle up. That thing's too wide to do. I can do a pull up, but I can't do a muscle up. Maybe one day I can, but no, I can't do a muscle up. I don't have enough strength to swing it. I've got enough to go up, but I don't have enough to like do that movement. Probably because the dip my bar at HQ. It's not possible. Can't do a muscle up, and yeah, I can't. I literally cannot because I'll hit the roof. Did I even finish the water? No, haven't even finished the water yet. Yeah, it just depends, right? I think I would prefer probably having the same physique, somewhat like Sanata, rather than like someone like Sam Sulik or something. Because too big is something I'm not really too interested. I don't know. I don't know. We don't. Is what it is. Just, nah, these probably gonna make my hands smell like shit. I was gonna touch those bars, but they smell really bad. Not that it's like an excuse, but looks like the previous owner here has left a good even thing. Oh yeah, kind of. It's not bad. These are always the best bicep things. You know, we actually were a lot leaner before, but we actually got so ridiculously lean. No, not never mind. No, I got lean until my two abs were like my top two abs are here, but then my chest was like incredibly flat. So then we decided to eat rice again, and we bulked up again, and add like maybe 1 or 2 kgs of muscles, and then now we're just kind of just here. I mean, look, losing fat's not hard, but you're literally gonna like start. I mean, I know how to lose fat. You just starve, but then you like lose the majority of muscles. Again, I used to bench 100 kgs back in my day. I had a lot of muscle, but my extreme cut, murdered a lot of muscles. But I don't mind because look at where I am now. It's worth, I think. We're currently 68.3 kgs. No sun for the past 2 days. Literally zero hunting and fishing too. It is what it is. And yeah, I don't even know what my arms look like anymore. I don't know. It's still kind of small though. Can you go back to it? Nah, it's still small, dude. Small. Right, well, at least we know that today we'll be doing a story video, so that's something interesting. Golden Hour's not too bad. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a story video or some kind of. It's just there's no topics to talk about. Like when I'm out in the open, I already cleared I already cleared all the topics with like in the past. You know, when it comes to like ecosystems, self-explanatory, everything's gray, self-explanatory. How humans are always going to be the best speciesism. Yep. How aliens can just be categorized as animals. Yep. How Earth is just waiting. Yep. How we're just waiting. Yep. Just compounding. Yep. Waiting for something interesting to happen. Yep. All the topics are done. All the topics are done. I mean, you could like talk about AI and stuff, right? But I already talked about that too. There's no such thing as AI's upright. There's no such thing as an AI uprise because you know, if everything was overtaken by AI, who's where's the customers? Where's the consumers? You know, it's just it is what it is. It's just coolios. I think I think that's about it. There's like one more thing I want to do. The last thing I want to do is the reverse curl. It hits the what I think. I feel like near the end of these videos, I have something to talk about. This exercise here. Tip: when there's no one here, I like to hold on. Bro, these smell so bad. No, I never like touching these things. But I like to, if I have availability, I like to just put this here, like a standing rack. When I use it, just grab it. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? So it's like boom. Okay, just do that. Okay. We're gonna wash our hands, it smells so bad. Also, oh, also literally golden hour almost lasts for like It literally barely lasts for 2 hours. It literally is like nearly 1.5 hours. Matter of fact, golden hour is almost. Wait, no, golden hour is technically less than an hour because yeah, it actually is less than. It's nearly yeah. Whatever. I need to wash my hands. It smells so bad. All right, appreciate it, guys. That's gonna be it. Dude. No, not sorry. Story video. Just cut to. I'll just cut to the story video, right?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Sorry, the mic's here. We've got a banger from Let's Read. We've seen this guy multiple times. He comes out with really good stories. Well, he reads out pretty good stories. Now, we're going to be doing seven true scary stories about obsessive people. So that means someone addicted to someone. Obsessive. All right, lock in.
Guys become obsessed with me over the years. Nothing to write home about, really, although now that I think about it, maybe there is another story that I'll send in. This story, though, is about someone I'll call Pizza Hobo. His real name was Jacob, and I don't really care about doxing him because A, he was a pest, and B, he's almost certainly dead by now. And the thing with Pizza Hobo is that I loved him at first. I worked at a small mom-and-pop pizza restaurant. You know, one of those hidden gem places with an insanely loyal customer base. One such loyal customer was Pizza Hobo. Every Tuesday, he'd come in for the Tuesday special, a stuffed crust margarita at half price. Now, he always got a medium with jalapenos as an extra topping, and I remember his order very well because it never changed. He was genuinely an interesting guy. He'd seen action in Vietnam, he'd studied anthropological folklore and marine biology, strange combinations, he admitted himself, just courses he'd taken on the internet without any qualifications at the end, just things that interest me, he'd say. I joked that he should look into how to cook pizza, given how regular he was, and then I quickly added not to do that because we didn't want to lose a valued customer. And this seemed to really cheer him up, and he left me a particularly generous tip that day. Now, I should add that we call him Pizza Hobo. He wasn't actually a hobo. It was a sort of style thing. From the clips of cash I'd seen in his wallet, the guy was packing. He certainly wasn't homeless, but he dressed like a homeless person, and I kind of wondered if he was one of those millionaires who got so rich that they just dressed like they couldn't
So she talking to him because he gives good tips. Got it.
even give two hoots. And I think I'd probably be one of those guys too. I never missed a shift in the 4 years that I worked at this pizza place. But one week I had some issues that, well, let's just say that it really wouldn't have been great to come into work. In fact, I didn't make it in until my Monday shift the following week. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, they were always mine. Now, one of my colleagues, an Asian kid called Andrew, who I kind of had a situationship going on with, took me to one side. Now, he was laughing, but in a way that made me think that he wasn't actually amused, but just thought that I might be. He told me that Pizza Hobo had gotten absolutely furious last Tuesday when he found out I wasn't on shift. He demanded to know why and if I'd switched shifts, and, most weirdly, if it was because of him. Andrew had to make a genuine effort to calm him down and explain that I was off sick. Now, he had to explain it so much, in fact, that he was forced to give details to Pizza Hobo that made me a little uncomfortable. I didn't really want this customer knowing intimate details about my food poisoning-based bowel movements, as I'm sure you can understand. Now, the next day, this Pizza Hobo came in as normal, and as soon as he saw me, it was like he'd seen an angel. Andrew was on shift too, and Pizza Hobo apologized profusely for his behavior. He explained that a few years ago, there had been an incident where a service worker he considered a friend had secretly been uncomfortable with his friendliness and had left the job entirely to avoid him. Now, he seemed so sad about that, but it was a little weird, right? Either the girl in question was kind of nuts or there was more to the story. You really don't leave your entire job because a customer being friendly makes you uncomfortable.
Also, if it's a customer that's only coming once a week, like if he comes once a week, it's like, okay, chill, no? Like once a week is not even, you know, once a week customers aren't even bad. Like, what you doing once a week? Once a week customers are fine, bro. You should get the daily ones. The daily ones are chill. Yeah, I mean, once a week is like customers come and go, right? Never really have the obsessed customer, but just, you know, what kind of L employee though, for real? Her mate. Like, bro, if the person's asking where your coworker is, be like, oh, sick. Yeah, is what it is. What are you gonna do? Cry about it?
Especially not any time in the last 10 years. Now, things continue as normal with this guy for a while, but I spoke to the manager and Andrew and made sure that Andrew could always be on the Tuesday shift with me too, just in case there was something I wanted him to witness. The manager assured us that the pizza hobo was almost certainly harmless, but there was no reason not to be careful. A few months later, my grandma got sick. Nothing serious, it was gallstones, but she was in surgery during my shift, and the manager let me make an exception and keep my cell phone on me, usually a big no-no, so I could just keep an eye out for a call. Now, just after Pizza Hobo had been and gone, I got the call. Before I was even out the restaurant door, I could hear the crackly, broken-up voice of Dad saying that Grandma was fine. The restaurant itself was a bit of a blind spot, so I had to step outside to hear him actually. And that's when I noticed that Pizza Hobo had his back to me in the alleyway a few stores down from ours, and he was dumping the entire pizza that he just bought into the dumpster. Now, it wasn't the case that he'd somehow scarfed it down. As he tossed it in there, the box came open and I saw the pizza spill out. Now, I told Dad that I'd speak to him later, not wanting Pizza Hobo to know that I'd seen him, and then went inside and told Andrew what had gone on. Now, my idea was that maybe that guy had just decided that he wasn't hungry that day, although throwing the entire pizza in the trash was a little extreme. Andrew was a little more suspicious. He decided to wait an hour every Tuesday after Pizza Hobo had left and check the dumpster, as it belonged to a Turkish restaurant, I believe. Now, every single week he'd been tossing the pizza away. Now, this could really mean only one thing. This guy was visiting the store to talk to me, and I tried to convince myself that it was harmless, but Andrew was certain that there was clearly more to it. He decided to tell the manager everything, who agreed that this was definitely a very weird situation.
I mean, even if you have the knowledge that the customers dump in the food every time he orders, I mean, can't do much about that. I don't know. You know, once the customer has the food in his possession, it's up to him what he wants to do. He can eat it. He could throw it away. He bought it. We got the money. He got the item, you know? It's like, yeah, I mean, sure, they're not eating it, but they're still buying it, right? I mean, it's like, oh, customers dumping the food that he bought and paid with money, but, you know, he's still paying. And, you know, he can do whatever he wants, right? It's not illegal to buy food and dump it, you know? Maybe it's, you don't know the context, you know? Maybe it's a ritual. Maybe his mate died in a dumpster, so every week he gives his soul pizza. I don't know. Maybe his pet raccoon, he had a pet raccoon and then the raccoon died in a dumpster. So every week he goes buy pizza and gives it to the raccoon soul, you know? Don't know the context, you know what I mean? Would you stop selling pizza to him because of that? Probably not. It's his choice, right? It is what it is, you know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, we were getting the guy's money, and unless he did anything strange to me, it was up to him what he did with his pizza. Now, that evening, the area manager, Chris, happened to be visiting the store. He asked if we had any security footage of this guy, which, of course, we had plenty. We showed the area manager this guy, and his face went completely white. He recognized him. A fair bit older and more disheveled, of course, but he had a story to tell us that sounded eerily familiar. After 2 years, 2 whole years, Pizza Hobo began to act creepy with an employee that he'd been friendly with for a long time. The area manager was the local store manager at the time and remembered it vividly. This guy spent over 2 years gaining this woman's trust, and then one day he started following her home. Now, the worst part was, back then, this didn't legally count as stalking. Now, he defended himself by saying his own house was on the same route, which it was, and the fact that he spent an hour smoking Camels outside the employee's house, well, that was just because it was the most well-lit area on the route, quote-unquote, and there was nothing the cops could or really would do. And to the point that it was almost seemingly that they were protecting Pizza Hobo, maybe because he was a veteran or something, who knows. The employee, whose name was Molly, was refused a restraining order, and eventually she just left her job, broke her lease, and moved somewhere that this Pizza Hobo couldn't find her.
Smart.
And we did the quackalations. It was coming up on 2 years since Pizza Hobo had befriended me, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I just knew that I was going to be the next Molly. But what should I do? It didn't sound like there was any legal recourse, willingly or not. Well, thankfully, the area manager had an offer I really couldn't refuse. The pizza restaurant was opening a 3rd joint in the next town over. Now, how would I like to be junior shift manager over there? And of course, I took it. I had a bunch of savings put back, and I was living with my parents, so I could afford to move to a new city. And Jesus Christ, I'm so glad
I don't know if her choice, I guess, but if you're living with your parents, keep working that job, free rent, free food. I bet that extra paycheck you're going to get from being a junior shift manager is not going to cover the worth of living alone in the city as a girl. Now I have to pay rent and food and water with no one home with you. I mean, hey, it's her choice, but I mean, might as well just stay with your parents then. You're a woman. What are you gonna do? Go to a new city and live alone? Work in a pizza place? Lock in.
I did, because Andrew called me a few weeks later and asked how squeamish I was. Well, not at all, I said, and he said good, because check the photo he was dropping in the group chat. "I'll find her one day," had been written on the exterior wall of the restaurant in what appeared to be human feces. It was vile. But it's been 8 years. That Pizza Hobo hasn't found me, and even though it really wouldn't take a genius to scope out the 3rd restaurant in the chain, my guess is something happened to him. I tried to Google that Molly girl, and all I could find was an obituary from 6 years ago, which could have been her, and every year there's a message posted on her memorial page saying, "I still miss you." But this year, the message simply said, "I couldn't let it happen again." And I think there's a lot more to this story and Molly and maybe Chris, the area manager, than perhaps we'll ever really know. And given how much I think Pizza Hobo deserved what he got, I'm just glad that I'm gone, and I think that's for the best.
Is what it is, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know about that story. It's once a week. For how long, Once a week. For how long? What is this man doing for the rest of his day? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure if I would call it obsessive, because that's super. I mean, again, once a week for like less than 2 hours during, like, he surely be doing other stuff, right? Must be doing other stuff. Like, what is he doing in those 70, 120 something hours? You know what I mean? Hold on a minute. How much experience do we get? Sorry, I have Minecraft running in the background. Boom. 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 There's no sound because I muted it. Gotta get ready for the next stream. Did I just kill my own friend? Whoops. Yeah, this is what we have in the background while I listen to these stories for the next stream. Excellent. Oh. Oh. Lock in. Next one. That was kind of mid. That's not obsessive. That's like once a week, bro.
Now, I'm sure you've been in high school, Joel, being the virile young man you grew into, but Jesus Christ, young love is more like torture, especially when you're all naive teens and people won't believe that sometimes girls genuinely are completely oblivious to the hidden, mysterious feeling that their male friends have for them. It all began with someone named Brian. Brian was my friend from the year we started.
Brian? What did he do? What did Brian do, bro? Now I'm interested. Now I'm invested in the story. Also, when it comes to high school, male and female friends don't work, but you'll figure it out. It's your choice.
High school, and within just a few weeks, I realized that I had a pretty big crush on him. You know, the kind of teenage nonsense. Writing his name in your notebook, getting him to take photo booth pictures with you, doing all sorts of just goofy stuff. Now, I really thought that the more we hung out, the more I made it clear to him that I wasn't hanging out with anyone else, and he'd get the hint. But he didn't, so there was only one conclusion I could draw. He didn't like me in that way. And so after a few months of just moping, I moved on and eventually found another boyfriend. His name is Paul. Now, I liked Paul, I really did, but I didn't.
I'm not gonna comment, but I might comment. Not gonna lie. No, I'm not gonna comment. I'm gonna skip the story actually. Can I skip the story? Yeah, it's one of those stories. I'm gonna skip it mainly because I think I know what this type of story is. She didn't tell her friend that she likes him, so she moved on to the next person, and then the guy was like, "Wait, I thought you liked me," and then he whatever. High school, who cares? Next.
Forever. So while I was in the meeting with the guidance counselor, my once crush, one girl that takes.
Where's the next story? There's no timestamps, bro. Does
She asked a teacher his job by stripping off her top just as she knew another staff member was about to enter.
What did I just skip to?
And they told me again until late.
Okay. I'm gonna skip that story because I'm not interested in high school ones.
If I had any advice for the younger people looking to get into the dating game, it would be this. Do not trust anyone who claims they love you and are obsessed with you. If they've known you for 1 week and they're declaring you're the one, then they probably have an ulterior motive.
I mean, like, what's the 1 week for?
I know this makes me sound cynical, but about a decade ago, I had a horrific experience with a very horrific person in every way, and for the most part, I only have myself to blame. I'm a minor public figure in a few fields, so I won't go into details about this woman or how we met. It was an industry that I worked in before the one I work in now. This woman contacted me out of the blue to tell me that I was her favorite non-fiction writer in a certain field, and that something I'd made after that career was her favorite thing of all time. Now, don't get me wrong, I was proud of this thing I'd made, and I appreciate anyone who enjoys it. But immediately, to claim it was her favorite thing ever made, alarm bells were ringing. It wasn't even 99% as good as most other things, and again, I say that I am proud of this piece or work I'd released, but already I was fairly certain that I was being love-bombed, and this woman wanted something from me. Unfortunately, due to a mixture of naivety and idiocy and really neurodivergence, I wasn't willing to actually say so. What followed next was a day or two of Snapchat flirting, followed by some of the most unflattering, unsolicited nudes you ever did see. I pretended that I was.
Bro's hooking up with a fan. Bro's hooking up with a fan. I don't... Look, we don't know the context of what he published. But if it was like a book, then what? If it was like, I don't know, I don't know the context. Because sometimes the people like you for what you made, not who you are. You know? But I don't know, we don't know the context of what his thing he made was, right? Was it his personality? Like, you know? It's kind of like an actor for a show. Oh my god, I'm so obsessed with John Wick. Oh my god. But then Keanu Reeves is who he actually is, and that, you know, Keanu Reeves is a character in the movie. So saying, "Oh my god, I love Keanu Reeves." Well, you love the character, but Keanu Reeves is a different person. You know what I mean? So without the context of what he made, we don't know. But he's hooking up with fans. Like, what's he doing? He's sending Snapchats with a fan. Bro, I said, what are you doing?
Impressed because I don't want to crap on anyone's self-esteem, but I've seen more flattering autopsy photos. And the next day, and if this seems quick, it's because it was, she asked if she could come down to visit me because there was clearly chemistry between us, and she had a feeling that maybe we were designed to be together. That I was her dream guy and I was some kind of super genius. LOL. Now I said no, I'd just come out of a relationship, a really bad one, and I really didn't want anything more than casual fun for now. And that's when the first temper tantrum happened. Suddenly, I'd be making her feel like a lady of ill repute if I'd seen nudes of her without then allowing her to come and visit and at least see how things worked out. And I was so taken aback by this logic. Like, literally, how am I supposed to just give everything to you because you just showed yourself to me unsolicited? I still said no, but she spent days and days and days sending me voice messages, crying about how I'd made her feel like a, well, some words I shouldn't say on here, all because she'd sent these unsolicited nudes. And so eventually I just said yes. Come visit for 4 days and we can see how things went.
4 days, bro, folded. Bro, what are you doing? What's this guy doing? Is he that? Just... I don't understand that kind of ecosystem. Like, if it's that, you know, maybe not invite them to a house. Maybe if you really, really wanted to, be like, you know what? Let's meet at a cafe or something, right? Somewhere where you can, like, peace out, you know? It's like, you know what I mean? How do you even know it's a real person? You know what I mean? How do you know it's a real person? Could be Mr. Jeet Man with the AI girl. Those nudes? AI. Well, those nudes? Not real. Not even, like, you know what I mean? So why would you send them straight to your house?
I knew how they'd go. I'd had no interest in being in a relationship, and I wasn't attracted to her. Maybe in person I could just let her down gently. And when I met her at that station, it was even more obvious that I was deeply, deeply unattracted to who she was. And not only that, but within 10 minutes of getting to my house, she wanted to engage in physical activity, if you know what I mean, and I tried everything to put her off, and eventually she kind of pushed herself onto me and started doing things that I was in no mood for and had no attraction to do.
But you let her do it, so...
The next day I told her that, as she promised, we'd give it a try, but I really wasn't feeling any chemistry between us, and I didn't think a relationship was a good idea. Cue tantrum number 2. This time I lured her down here with the intent of intimate activity, which I had texts to disprove even, and that the only way she could possibly be comfortable with herself is if we started dating. But not just that. To prove my devotion to her, I had to allow her to move in. Now I should add that I was staying with my parents at the time. That night, without even consulting me that this would happen, she told my parents that I'd invited her to move in for a while. And then she kept encouraging me to tell them that she was the one. I don't know why I went along with it, other than in my defense I'd suffered some very severe psychological and physical issues over the last 10 years, which she had known about in advance.
What a weak man. I'm skipping this. Bro just folded non-stop. He's just folding non-stop. Oh, I'm getting manipulated, but I'm getting puss, so sure, I guess. So dumb. I should be playing Minecraft while listening to these. That's so. That guy folded so fast. I'm skipping it. No, I can't be bothered. He's a weak man.
And so she'd add here for your upset me, but a spike for
Next story? Come on.
accusations leave me stripped and exposed for everyone to find again. Silent, teasing
It was a weak man. I don't care.
Generian and added to that things. Now it was soon clear that they would become fast friends. These had always been sharp as a knife, but this screamed dementia.
Dude, this man needs a timestamp. Oh. Thank you. Story 5. Let's go lock in. Wait, no, that story... I think that was story... Which story are we on now?
I won't name the office or its functionality, but I've been working there for around...
Story 7?
Get into the dating game. It would
Oh, okay, so we're on story 5 now. Story 5.
I won't name the office or its functionality, but I've been working there for around 4 months when I started to notice undue attention from the boss. It's hard to explain. It was just like he looked at me more than he did the others. And then, the emails started. They were anonymous, but sent from the company internal network, something that only a few people are able to do. They described me as angelic, perfect, my body divine, etc. Now, for one, this is absolutely not true, and secondly, obviously not appropriate. Every time I checked my emails, I felt a spike of panic as a new anonymous love note appeared. It ramped up even further when my car was in the shop and I was forced to walk the 3 blocks from the office to my apartment. I could hear someone following me. I know I could. Heavy-set, shallow breathing, just like the boss, but whenever I turned, I never caught a stalker. Now, I scurried forward a bit and ducked into an alley, certain that nobody had seen me. A figure burst into that alley, and they were heavy-set and heavy-breathing all right, but it wasn't the boss. It was his direct assistant, Jan. Now, what the hell, I thought to myself. I asked Jan if she was okay and if she needed help with anything, and she went full-on Karen on steroids. I was absolutely blasted with shrieks and accusations and yells about how I knew what I'd done. Then she grabbed me, uncomfortably by the breasts of all places, and dragged me into the alley. She said that it was such a tease at work, so maybe she'll leave me stripped and exposed for everyone to find and have their way with me. I was screaming, crying, shaking, and calling for help. I barely even noticed Jan, and I certainly was not a tease at work. I have a husband for one thing. Jan began to tear at my clothes, trying to expose me, and I managed a vicious rake of my nails down her face. And then I heard it. The blissful sound of a police siren and a flashlight. It didn't take the officers long to work out what was going on, and once I explained my story, as little sense as it even made to me in the moment, Jan was soon in handcuffs. The next day at work was full of gossip. It appears that Jan had been the one who thought that I was teasing her, and on her work PC they found numerous fanfics about me and her, all in an inappropriate nature, and it was as if she couldn't discern these fictions from reality. The boss told me that he'd been keeping an eye on Jan to see how she behaved towards me because he suspected her of driving out another female hire but couldn't be completely sure. It was a relief to know that he wasn't constantly staring at me anyway. I guess sometimes the obsessive and the perverts are the least likely suspects.
So this woman is a lesbian and she gone crazy against all the other younger workers. What? That was it? That was a 3-minute story. What was the story? Oh. So you started working in a new office and then one of the ladies tried to attack... No, literally tried to rape you. Next story, lock in.
When Grandma died in the 80s, I don't think my grandpa expected to find love again, let alone 20 years later. And yet as we drove him to the nursing home, this was his choice by the way, we joked about how he might meet a hot octogenarian who could be his life partner for the rest of it. Now Grandpa poo-pooed this idea, but I could tell that he kind of liked it too. Of course, not that I was a real expert, but at 23 I didn't really imagine that real old people's parts worked anymore, and so I pictured older love as something beautiful. Jigsaw puzzles with a morning cup of coffee, walks by the lake, watching the sun go down from a beach. And you know what? That's exactly what Grandpa found with Edith Beaton. I saw her giving him the eye on the day he moved in. After we'd unpacked Grandpa's meager belongings, I was in the rec room making Grandpa and Dad a drink. Edith sidled up to me, introduced herself, and told me that my grandpa was a bit of a dish, wasn't he? I laughed, blushing a little, 'cause what do you say to that about your own family member? Instead, I changed the subject to try selling him to her as a friend and companion. He was smart, funny, well-read, and hadn't come to the nursing home to just give up on life. Now, these all seemed to be the right things to say to Edith. Her eyes lit up at the idea of Grandpa wanting a new lease on life, and she told me that what she'd been looking for, too. I promised that I'd introduce them over dinner, and I did. Now, it was soon clear that they would become fast friends. The residents were encouraged to communicate with their family via letter or email rather than telephone, to keep their minds sharp, so for the first few weeks we received gushing, almost teenage messages from Grandpa about his time with Edith. They had soon become the nursing home's trivia night champions, and they'd lost entire days to walks around the lakes and the grounds, and they even shared a kiss or two as the sun went down. Then, Grandpa's emails changed. They became, well, creepy, to put it in the best way that I can. Instead of the paragraphs of gushing text that he'd send us, we'd started receiving emails of one sentence that said things like, "There's something wrong with this place. I see a shadow at the door. She scratches in the night."
Yo, Grandpa losing it. he losing it. He gone. I mean, you did put him in a nursing home, but is what it is. I don't know. What can you do about it? You send him to a nursing home. I don't know much about that stuff, so I wouldn't know.
Naturally, we reached out to the nursing home, and Grandpa's mental faculties had always been sharp as a knife, but this screamed dementia. They called us all in for a meeting with him, and we discussed the emails. Grandpa explained that he was having night terrors and was deeply apologetic, but that the only way he seemed to be able to break out of them was to email the people he loved and snap himself back to reality. And it all felt very strange. More emails arrived and became clear that they were written by a very scared, very unsettled person. They spoke of a spirit that roamed the halls, searching for its next victim. Then during the day, he'd be full of apologies. And then he told us that he'd spoken to Edith about the night terrors in the emails and that she suddenly became strangely angry with him. None of this was adding up, and I was starting to become a little scared. And so I booked an appointment with the head of the nursing home by myself without telling my parents or Grandpa, making sure that it fell on a day when he was part of a residential day trip.
Wait, why do you need a book? Can't you just visit? Just show up to the place. Yo, you're talking smack in your emails. What are you doing? Oh, you chilling? Alright, bet. Show me your computer. Let me see. You type this? Oh, okay. Look around his room. Alright. You stay there, alright? I'll be bro, just go there. I'd like a book appointment to see my grandpa in the nursing home. Yeah. Wait, I don't know how it works. Again, I don't know how a nursing home works. I just assumed it's like a village.
I didn't get many answers from the head nurse, but the lack of answers told me plenty. Whenever I mentioned Edith, there was sort of a wince or a cringe, and so I started grilling Grandpa. Grandpa wasn't the first man Edith had befriended, and Grandpa wasn't the first man who, upon befriending her, had started sending strange correspondence. In the end, that guy who'd been with Edith, his family, had transferred him from that nursing home, although they were unsure why, and it was just chalked up to some coincidence, but now Edith was involved in both of these events. And so I began to ask about their night staff, and it turned out that they were severely short-staffed at night. and so if something were to happen, it might actually get overlooked. Now, I was starting to get an idea, a narrative really.
Is this a nursing home or a prison? I don't understand. Must be the same thing, right?
Quite a bit of persuading to let the head nurse allow me to stay overnight in an empty residential room, but it's truly amazing how far dollary dues will go. I wanted to test my theory. Now, sure enough, around
she straight up bribed them to.
Right as I crept into the corridor that housed Grandpa's room, there was no staff to be seen. But there was instead a person stood outside of Grandpa's room. This person was running her fingernails slowly down the door, no doubt the scratching that Grandpa had heard. She was dressed in this nightgown, and I could tell immediately that that was Edith. I bumped against something and almost let out a yell, expecting Edith to turn and spot me, but instead she reacted differently. She burst the door open to Grandpa's room, which of course wasn't allowed to be locked from the inside. I could hear him screaming within the darkness, and it took me a minute or two to reach the room and slap the light on. Now by this time Edith had stripped her gown off completely, and I was horrified to see that her naked body was now slathered in some type of oil. I'm so tired of waiting, she was screaming at my grandpa, "Take me, take me."
Yo!
I was mortified. What could I
Oh
do?
my goodness, yo, they gotta chill out. Ugh. That's nasty. Yo, she draining Grandpa. GG. Ah. How old are these people? They can still do it?
All I could do was tackle that slimy, naked old lady
Bro, I wouldn't even touch.
off of my grandpa before he had a heart attack. Now, it was really a tragic tale, if I'm being honest. Edith had some form of dementia. They called it sundowning, and as night fell, the kind-loving Edith essentially became some crazy 84-year-old witch with Grandpa as her pent-up target. Now, sadly, Edith had to be transferred to a more secure unit where she could receive the treatment she required, and there was far too much danger of developing an obsession with another patient, even if they managed to cure her of this fixation on my grandpa. And so, my poor grandfather lost the best friend he'd had since Grandma, but like he said the next day, there were new residents all the time. Maybe one day there'd be a new Edith who didn't turn into a nymphomaniac witch when the sun went down, and that sounded like an altogether more promising friendship.
It's all Grandpa's fault, by the way, just saying. It's pretty much Grandpa's fault, right? I would just say it's his fault. Just if he really hated it, he would have just whoosh, out of there. You know? Obviously he wanted it because he could have easily resisted, right? I mean, it depends on the context of what they look like, but you know, if you know what I mean? Yeah. That's actually crazy right there.
So I'll start out by saying that I used to be homeless. Now, they were rough years, and I can't say that I'm not to blame. I had a wife and kids, I had a good job, and I threw it all away thanks to a gambling addiction. I soon learned that gambling with your own life and safety is a pretty bad idea, though, and after years of nights spent on the streets in sub-zero temperatures and 3 to 4 days without food and barely any water, I really regretted my life choices.
Bro had a wife and kids and gambled everything. What?
When I found the Eastman Soup Kitchen, it was like an oasis in a storm of poop. It was one of those secrets where you only found out about it from another homeless person that trusted you, and this meant that almost everyone who you'd meet there was one of the good ones. Occasionally you get a bad egg come in and try and ruin it for everyone, but they were soon sent packing by the community that we built up. And perhaps the linchpin of this entire community was someone named Angela. She was a pretty, well, really beautiful young woman in her early 30s, and she didn't run the soup kitchen, but she was certainly the face of it. And so you can imagine my surprise when I picked up on the signs that Angela was kinda, maybe possibly into me. Now, I won't lie, Even back when I wasn't a bad-looking dude, I never touched substances, just gambling, and I kept myself as healthy and fit as possible living in those streets. I was maybe a few years older than Angela, but, you know, you can just imagine someone like that would be taken. But apparently not so, as she'd always dish me out a little extra portion and tell me to look after my body and remark how fit I was and things like that. The kind of thing where someone who's been with a few women can just kind of pick up on as flirting, I guess. Now this carried on for a few months. I wanted to be absolutely sure before I made any move, and the last thing I wanted to be was—
How are you homeless for that many months? How are you homeless for that long? What have you been doing? What are you doing?
a weird homeless bum who was hitting on the pretty girl just doing her job. It turns out I didn't need to wait. Angela approached me, only it wasn't quite the romantic movie moment that I'd been picturing. I was staying at a homeless shelter at the time, one of the very rare instances where I'd been able to get in, and I get this message, right, saying that my wife is downstairs and she'd forgiven me, and she's here to bring me home.
Cat.
I knew 100% that this was not my actual wife because we were divorced and she'd remarried.
Wait, how do you have a phone? I thought you're homeless. Do homeless people have phones? What?
And so I went downstairs with the most burning curiosity, as you can imagine. Now picture my surprise when it was Angela standing there, who then rushed into an embrace, planted a kiss on my lips, and then told me it was time to come home. Now the guy at the front desk quickly looked through my file and remarked that I'd registered as single, and he said that he was—
What do you mean a file and single? What file? What's going
just
on?
doing his job, but he had to check that everything was kosher here. And I mean, it was pretty odd, but I was hardly going to say no. Angela isn't my wife, and if she wanted to bring me home and play at marriage as our first step, well, let's just say that it had been a while and I wasn't really thinking with my brain. We drove back to Angela's place in silence, and every time I tried to ask her what was up, she'd just make a sort of shush sound and give me this knowing smile.
Bro's thinking of his Johnson. Bro's thinking with this Johnson. He ain't thinking about... Bro, he's gonna get his kidneys. He's gone. His kidneys gone. That woman gonna steal his kidneys and sell him. He's a dead man. Homeless? Ah, you're homeless, huh? So no one's gonna know if you go missing, huh? So I'm clearing my mouth right now. You know what I mean? You're homeless. No one knows if you die or not. So, yeah, GG. What are you doing? Also, how are you homeless for that many months? Like, what are you doing? How do you have a I don't know. Bro's gonna get his organs taken. It's over. It's over.
Now, the first thing we were doing, she said, was having a drink, and she had the most amazing blend of tea she wanted me to try.
Oh my goodness. He's gonna get like... He's gonna get spiked and his organs are gonna go gone. He's just become a missing person, and guess what? The police don't care. Be like, oh yeah, that guy. He had a wife and kids and he went homeless. He's missing now? Ah. No one's gonna feel sympathy. Be like, oh, he went homeless and he disappeared. Is what it is.
No, I wasn't arguing with that either. It did smell and taste amazing, and I remember thinking that even as I felt myself drifting under, like the time that I'd taken anesthetic for the injury that crippled my work, I remember thinking what a waste of tea as I fell to the side and spilling that liquid onto the carpet. And the next thing, I woke up in a basement with the most painful pinching on my pectoral muscles I could ever imagine. Now, as a homeless person, you're trained to wake up as quickly as possible, and I forced myself to do so. And that's how I discovered so quickly that my chest was hooked up to some type of clamp or car battery. I was naked, and Angela sat in a chair opposite me, still sipping her drink and still smiling gently. I opened my mouth to speak, to ask Angela what was going on, but before I could even get a word out, she shocks me, sending searing electrical current through my body.
Oh, this is worse than this is GG. He's become her plaything.
I waited, and then I tried again. Another shock. and then another. And then blissfully, Angela said that was enough. That she didn't want to injure my beautiful body. She just wanted to shock me into remembering again. Remembering what? I asked. Another shock. I stayed quiet. She told me I was meant to remember who I am. But I knew who I was, and Jesus Christ, sometimes I wish I didn't. I'd effed up my entire life. I'd ruined my relationship with my wife and kids and my parents, and a part of me wished that Angela could just fry me into being a different person. Now, who am I? I asked again. Angela's hand hovered over that battery and then stopped. She told me I was Patrick. She was right. That was my name. Patrick McKirk. I told her so. Another shock, and this time longer and stronger. She began to scream at me about this McKirk nonsense, that I shouldn't lie. I was Patrick Carson, husband to Angela Carson. Her husband, killed in a hit and run 3 years ago, who 3 years later would look like me, just like me. And somehow...
Ooh, interesting. Oh, this person lost her husband and she went crazy, and then she probably thought he got reincarnated or something. Oh, there he is. Found him. Get him.
his spirit had possessed me. She told me that if it was a car that killed me, then a car battery could bring me back. I told her it didn't work like that, not at all. Electricity as reincarnation is the subject of science fiction. And the shock was so strong this time and went on for so long that I screamed and soiled myself. Angela chastised me, then headed upstairs to acquire some cleaning materials. Now, I waited no time in trying to take my chance. I used all my strength not to snap the rope that I was tied with, but to break apart the wooden chair that she'd mistakenly used on which to seat me. And it worked like a charm. The first thing I did was unclip the electrodes from my chest, and then I grabbed the hefty car battery. I needed something as a weapon, and I hid under the basement stairs and waited for Angela to descend. I felt terrible, absolutely terrible for doing this, but trying to hold back my swing, I hit her square in the side of the head with that car battery. Angela crumpled to the ground, and I was out of that house and running down the street, blood streaming from my chest, asking for help. Eventually, I was stopped by a cop car and taken to the station, and I told them everything. The cops looked into Angela, and everything I said rang true, and the next step was to go and pay her a visit. Unfortunately, this is where things take a sudden and terrifying turn. Angela was gone. Hastily packaged luggage had been thrown together, and that had disappeared too. This was 8 years ago now, and I've never heard from her since, not directly anyway, but sometimes I get a spam email or catch a sight of a hoodie-wearing figure ducking down an alley. But I have to wonder, has Angela broken free of her delusions, or has she moved on? Or is she still obsessed with the idea that I am somehow possessed by the spirit of her dead husband?
She's moved on. It's been 8 years, buddy. Okay, very, very interesting. These stories were kind of mid, I'll be honest. A few reactions here and there, but... Sorry, I'm reading this comment. Oh yeah, I skipped that story. That was mid. Okay, well, story. Listen of the story. No. Listen of the stories. Don't follow your PP. And a lot of these stories are missing context. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That was kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, obsession is hard, I think. Obsession is like a daily thing. I don't know. It's kind of mid though. Hold on. Let's have a look real quick. Is there anything else interesting? A pretty 20-year-old girl kills her dates for being needy. How can you do it multiple times?
Gently formulated with probiotics, S26 Comfort Top.
Wait, I'm on. Hold on. Let me look at this real quick.
With the help of Xero accounting software, I've got the right information at my fingertips. So I can take my business anywhere. And I know where I'm heading next! Search Xero with an X!
Bada bing, bada boo.
If you really want to know what somebody is into, you follow them at night. You do not follow them throughout the day, because during the day, we're all doing things that we don't really want to do, but we kind of have to do. We're going to work, we're going to school, we're running errands. But at night, that's usually when someone makes a choice. Regardless of sleep, the fact that it's dark outside, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna do this thing. And taxi drivers are the ones that get to see all of us in our dirty little glory. One taxi driver says, "You're awake when the world is asleep. It changes how you see things." The night shifts. Okay, a lot of taxi drivers have stated during the night, people are more open to sharing things about themselves that they probably wouldn't during the day. Maybe because it's dark in the car and they feel the need to fill the silence all of a sudden, and you just see weird things. One taxi driver said the strangest incident that he had was this guy gets into the back. He makes eye contact through the rearview mirror. He's got this pent-up energy like something big is about to happen. Where to? The whole time, he's anxiously rubbing his hands on his thighs. He's gonna propose to the love of his life. It's like a beautiful thing to witness. The driver drops him off, wishes him good luck in the rearview mirror, and then a few stops later, he picks up the same man. Now the destination is a bar. The girl said no. Same person, same night, two very different car rides. Taxi drivers, they just know way too much about people.
That's not the taxi driver's fault. It's their fault for telling him. You can't blame the taxi driver for that. That's his fault. Why'd you tell me? I didn't even ask. I'm just driving. You talking smack to me, bro.
Like the psychic way, but the observational way, which I think is arguably a lot creepier. Another one, the same taxi driver had a woman get into the back of his car. Quote, "She silently cried the whole time in the back. Completely silent the whole ride. And then just says, 'Thank you for not asking anything.' And then walked away. She told him, 'Thank you for not asking her if she's okay,' while she's falling apart in the back of his car." One finance executive.
What's wrong with that? Bro, if you cry in the car if you want. It's not my problem. My job to take you here to there. I ain't no therapist. I don't care if you're crying in the back. What do you want me to do about it?
Is picked up and he confesses to the taxi driver at 2 a.m. that this is his very first conversation in months. He doesn't talk to his wife. He doesn't talk to his kids. He has no friends. The only people that he talks to are people at work, and it's mainly through emails. And taxis all have a very specific smell at 2 a.m. It's usually people going out in the middle of the night, and for some odd reason, they spray a lot more perfume and cologne at night. Maybe it's because they haven't showered all day and they're still headed out, or maybe...
By the way, not showering doesn't actually... You don't stink from not showering. You stink from working out.
Maybe because they're meeting someone who's going to be able to smell them. It's that mixed with the sanitizing scent of the seats. That's the smell. Except one particular taxi driver in South Korea. He's on his night shift when the door opens. Beautiful 20-year-old woman gets in with 2 giant takeout bags of fried chicken, 2 heavy bags of fried chicken. He can smell it. The entire taxi cab suddenly smells like fried chicken now. She gets into the car, and the driver is trying his best not to stare at her chest in the rearview mirror, but it's just, she's wearing a very unusually low-cut shirt considering how cold it is outside, and it's also the middle of the night, and she's got 2 bags of fried chicken. And he's picking her up from a local motel. Because, I don't know, you can ponder a bit further. She's the first to talk. "Hurry, sir. Go fast. I'm being chased. I'll give you cash." And she's like, "Go, go, go." So out of just pure instinct, he's stepping on the gas and she's leaning back, taking a deep breath of what looks like $100 worth of fried chicken. And then she starts taking a picture. She's almost smirking while she's typing something out on her phone. And the whole reason that this is odd is because the driver's on high alert. He's looking for whoever could be potentially chasing this young woman in the middle of the night. Like, what happens if they catch up? But also, the fried chicken smell is very distracting. And she said someone is chasing them. but suddenly her demeanor is very relaxed in the back of the car, as if she's just getting a ride to a local coffee shop at 2 p.m., not 2 a.m. Everything about this ride, even though it's not one of the most outwardly outrageous rides that he's had recently, everything about this ride makes him uncomfortable. He can't stop thinking about it, to the point where he starts coming up with these random ideas of why she was in a rush, but not really. He comes up with this idea, maybe she wanted him to take her seriously and rush her home so that she could eat the fried chicken before it got cold. But if she had just said that, then he wouldn't have taken her seriously. So like maybe she just said,
You know, the driver wouldn't give a she'd be like, oh, okay, just to take you there then. He ain't thinking about all that. He's driving. You know, it's just what? Dude, there's no way a driver thinks that much. I wouldn't think that. I'd be like, oh my god, this customer. Like, mind my own business. Take you here, you give me money? Alright, bet. You have a good night, alright? Alright.
someone's chasing me. He's like thinking of all these weird scenarios.
What was that hum sound? Was that from the video?
So like maybe she just said someone's chasing me. He's like thinking
It was from the video, dude. That caught me off guard for a bit. The hell was that?
of all these weird scenarios until he turns on the news one day and he realizes the woman that he picked up that night is the motel serial killer, the newest female serial killer of South Korea. The one that netizens have said is too pretty to go to jail.
Serial killers can't get away, no? You can only do it like once or twice and that's it. Is what it is. It's like if you crash your car into someone when you live, you can only do it so many times, right? Before they catch on. But you can't really prevent yourself from getting killed the first time. It is what it is.
To thank today's sponsors who have made up is the R1s packed with a bunch of other games.
Sorry, gotta skip your sponsors, man.
And so this running club, nobody asks, are you a cop? Are you a runner? Start running. Singles to approach strangers and a hunting bar is a bar specifically set up in Korea for singles to approach strangers and try to start dates. It's set up so there's a bunch of tables all circling a dance floor, and singles will walk from table to table asking if they can join them. So sometimes you'll have like a full table of women, and then a group of men will want to join their table, or tables of men and groups of women will come up and want to join their table.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's set up so singles are
Who's talking?
encouraged, and it's very normal to go from table to table. So it's not like, oh, you need to know all these people to make friends at the bar.
It's like Tinder in real life.
Yeah, it's like speed dating in real life. It's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah. And then sometimes they'll pay for the drinks. Sometimes they'll get drunk, and then maybe they'll go to a second part for like the second half of the show, I guess. They'll go to a separate bar or a separate club. The hunting bar is specifically to meet people. But because you're...
Oh, no, hunting bar is not ecosystem you would want to take. Well, I wouldn't take that ecosystem. No sir. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. That is... Nah, that's the wrong ecosystem. Completely wrong ecosystem. Well, depending on who you are, right? But that's not an ecosystem I would look into, no. Because one, you're putting yourself out there. Okay, let's say you're the female going to a hunting bar. You're leaving the safety of the home by yourself or with friends to a bar to meet with random people. What? Why? Why would you do it? I don't...
completing is
I don't want to listen to the rest of the story. Let me guess. She lures in... The killer lures in some man who's thinking of his pee-pee. She kills him, moves on to the next one, but she could only kill how many people? What's it? I bet she only killed like 3. 3 is at most she can get away. It depends on how fast the night is, right? Really depends on how fast the night is. How many did she kill though? I bet it's 3. That's the max she can do, right? 3.
Others are saying, so everybody looks like a supermodel on Instagram, even related. They're
You know what? I've seen those China makeups, by the way. Have you seen those China? Hold on. China makeup transformation makeup. Hold on. Look at this. That's true. That's true, by the way. Look at this. God damn. These are crazy, no joke. Like, no, there's like this. I remember this is like this. There's this YouTuber that. Wow, that's crazy. Hold on. No, that's true though. That thumb. Hold on, where is it? You got it. Okay, whatever. It's true though. Asian woman can easily like transform their entire face. It's true. This is literally proof right here. How many ads are you gonna give me? Why? It's true though. Like people, literally, a grandma can turn into like a crazy hot girl, but with the power of makeup. Yeah, it's called cosplaying. I've seen it. That's true. People, they can do that. This one? That was pretty normal. Yeah, like they can literally transform. They literally can transform themselves. It's because of the eyelashes. It's the eyelashes, by the way. What is it called? The eyelashes. They make it longer and it makes them look really good. See, look, just completely different. It's true though. Like, yeah, the eyelashes. It's straight up the eyelashes, by the way. That's what I've noticed in Asian women. Asian with eyelashes are good. Because they have none to begin with. It's the eyelashes, by the way. Kind of. This one was actually... That's true. That was nowhere near the thumbnail. What? Dude, there's no way that's true though. Look. 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 They literally got an entire tutorial on how to transform themselves into from that to that's the killer, by the way. Hey, ladies, if that's the killer, by the way. Add these fake eyelashes, bro. You're gonna win. The fake eyelashes are the one that gets people, right? Maybe it's just me. It's like, look, they got like no eyelashes. And then boom, all of a sudden, wow. Also, contact lenses, right? Yeah, literally. Make the eyes bigger. No? GG. 100,000 germs on that. When it fell down. Yeah, I mean, that's true. So, sorry, what was that? We were distracted on the killer, right? The woman that killed 20,000? No, how many did she kill? How many? Wait, who was the woman? What's the woman called? What's her name? We don't even know. How many people did she kill?
If you really, yeah,
Like she looks completely different.
completely different. If her Instagram photo and her mugshot
Yeah, that's literally true. That we just seen that people can do that, so not surprised.
photos, I would say absolutely not. They're not even related. Hoover, the candy would have stayed stuck and I would have died without being able to breathe, but I survived. Like, what? She starts describing how she used to try and self-exit and how she's annoyed that it didn't succeed. Journalist, and she's like, you got to air these letters, by the way. And the journalist is like, okay, I will. Find the motel CCTV footage, and they found that it's Kim So-young linked to the incident. They called Kim So-young, and they were going to arrange for a time for her to come in for a police interview.
And during that,
That man's held hostage. You can tell by the way that she's pulling on him.
Going to arrange for a time
Bro, he's shaking
for
to
her to come
GG.
in for a police interview.
and during that time, she killed another person.
Yeah. I guess they thought it was, oh, there's no way that she killed him. Maybe he was doing drugs. They were thinking of all these things, and they didn't think that it would be that pertinent to go investigate immediately. But they could have very easily prevented the second death. And they didn't. And then on top of that, the victims' families are upset because all this rhetoric online is, oh, well, the men were asking for it because they were probably going to essay her. And it's like, no, they weren't. They weren't even the ones that wanted to get a motel. She specifically, there's so...
Nah, it's still the man's fault. Nah, still the man's fault. Still the man's fault. 100% the man's fault. You can't blame... Nah, 100% the man's fault. That's just how the world works, right? Man's fault, 100%. You got the power to stop, you know? You got more of a... Yeah, man's fault. Yeah. I don't blame people for saying that it's the man's fault. It is. Man's fault right there. Straight up. You followed her. You walked with her. You walked to the room with her. You took all those steps. Self-accountability, you know? You took all those steps to do that. So, yeah, it's your fault. Is what it is, though.
Act.
She only killed 2 people?
I eat it, sometimes I don't, because it's not very good.
It is what it is. That's just how it works, you know? It is what it is. Same, I mean, I've talked about this in many Earth vlogs, but it's the same thing as, like, you know, driving a car, right? Some person can just drive into your car and you're dead. GG is what it is. So, you know, sometimes if you're gonna go on hookups with random girls, one of them might kill you. It is what it is. You know? That's just how the world works. Alright, Legend, appreciate it, alright? See you guys next time. Bye-bye.